Hi guys! In today's video, I wanted to share with you the houseplants that I'm currently propagating and how I propagated them. I use different methods of propagation. I propagate by water, by soil, by sphagnum moss, and by LECA. For me, probably the easiest and the most common way I propagate my houseplants is through water propagation. I just feel like it's the simplest and it's the easiest because I don't need anything but water. And I just find a clear container like this so I can see the progress of the roots and put it in a bright indirect light and just really watch it grow and change water like every week so that the cutting doesn't rot. With that being said, I want to show you this snake plant propagation. So for this, I just cut the mother plant like this. I've seen it in one of the videos that I watched. I'm not sure which one it is, but they just kind of cut it like this instead of straight. I did have something that's just straight just for, experimentation because I like doing things different ways and just seeing which one's better, if it is or if it's not. And yeah, so I simply cut the mother plant and just put it in water. Make sure that I put water way up here where it can grow roots. And this has been sitting in water for maybe about 3 to 4 weeks now, and I think, yeah, so this one already actually started growing some roots, but I think it would take a while before this is ready. The next one that I wanted to show you is this Pothos. This one actually came with my marble queen. I don't know if it's just a reverted marble queen, but I actually think this is a Jade Pothos that was just in the mix. So it's been in water for maybe a week or so, but if you can see, like, the roots have really gone crazy. It's really done well and it's really rooting pretty fast. And same thing, I just place it in a bright indirect light and change the water every week. So for Pothos, I cut, so this is the plant, and where I cut like below this node, and there used to be a few leaves on top of this, but since they're gonna be submerged in water, I just cut them out. And the most important thing to note is that when you cut something for propagating, make sure that you cut below the node. So that's another node. So I could have cut over here if I wanted to propagate more. This is another node, so I could have cut here or here. And some people actually, if they want to do a lot of propagation and they want to have it like a full plant, they cut several pieces of this node. So there's gonna be 1, 2, 3 cuts, and they're just gonna propagate it like that. But for me, I just want to propagate it using like one stem because I kind of want it more trailing than full, but that's just personal preference. So you can do whatever way you like depending on how much lush or how much trailing your plants want to look. Next houseplant that I'm currently propagating is this Peperomia Obtusifolia, and this is the variegated type. And this one is actually have been propagated because when I was changing this plant to LECA, I accidentally nipped the leaf, and I thought I'm just gonna put it in water and see if it's gonna grow. And look at that, this has really been surprising for me. And just look how the leaves grow out of the roots. Like, this is like out of this world. Like, I was so pleased to see it like this. And this is probably the coolest propagated leaf that I have. So yeah, I just pretty much stuck it in water and just wait, and it's gonna produce like this roots, and eventually it would have small leaves like that. I think I'm still gonna have to wait to be able to plant it in soil or LECA. For now, I'm just gonna leave it like this, and I don't know, maybe I find joy seeing the leaves. It's like so cute and tiny at the bottom. So yeah, I'm surprised how much this also grew. So the next way that I propagate plants is just simply by sticking them into soil. So for the succulents, this is from my Jade plant that I recently got. And for this, I actually tried it a couple ways. I tried it by cutting the stem and simply putting it in soil, and those are actually staying outside in the backyard, and they're doing pretty well. And this one's, I just took off some leaf, like I make sure I took the leaf like really off the stem, like as close to the stem, and I simply put them on top of the soil. So for this one, I usually mist them. So I usually just mist them like this. I try to avoid the leaves as much as possible, but I know that's kind of, it's unavoidable. So when I see the soil kind of drying out, I'm just going to mist it like this. So this jade leaf propagation, I've had it maybe for about a couple months, and they're kind of slow growers, but for me it's okay because it's not like I'm in a rush. But it's really like wonderful to see all the leaves grow out of that, like tip. That's amazing. Like I've never seen it like this because this is the first time I'm propagating succulent, so I was like, wow. And if you ever propagate succulents, I would advise, if you're gonna do like a leaf propagation like this, I would advise just to get more leaves than you would normally wish, because what I noticed in some of my succulent propagation, like some of the leaves just dry up and they get burned, so I end up with like a few leaves that just kind of die during the propagation process. So if you want some specific number of propagations, just make sure that you do more than you would wish for, so that way if some leaves or some cuttings don't make it, then you'll be fine. The other one that I have in soil, and this is really like a pleasant surprise for me, this is an Alocasia. So at first I wasn't even sure what kind of Alocasia this is, because what happened here was I was transferring some of my Alocasia to LECA, and some of the bulbs fell out, and at that time I don't even know what they are until I Google them. But anyways, I just try to throw those bulbs into the soil, and just kind of planted it not too deep, maybe like half an inch into the soil. And the next thing I know, like 3 weeks after, it gives me this baby leaves, and I was like, whoa. So I was really like surprised for this one. So for this, I actually started with like a plastic dome here, pretty much kind of to have a higher humidity while it's propagating. But since this leaf is really getting taller, so I had to take the lid, like it used to have a lid on it, but I had to take it out, and this one's now sitting in like a bigger plastic container, so I would still have that high humidity for it to grow. And at first I wasn't sure what kind of alocasia this is, but looking at it now, I actually like 90% sure it's an Alocasia Ivory Coast. So I'm hoping these guys will make it. Like there's a baby leaf from this leaf, so this has been really like a exciting surprise propagation for me. So this will be very familiar for those who watch my string of hearts propagation, and look at that. See, the roots are now growing longer, and I think they're gonna be ready to be planted in soil or LECA pretty soon. But I think for this one, I'm gonna do it in soil. Like I know string of hearts, they like to be kind of dry. They're on the dry side, so I would plant them in soil once they're ready. Maybe I'll give it another 1 or 2 weeks, or maybe more. I think they might be ready, but like it always helps to let them grow out more a little bit. So that's that. The other thing that I have in sphagnum moss is this Hoya Pubicalyx. So this one's actually gifted to me by one of my Instagram friends who's into plants as well. And this has only been here for maybe like less than a month, but look at the roots of this one. This is crazy. Like, I've never seen something that actually, so I'm really being gentle not to pull the actual leaves because some of them are sphagnum moss, but look at the roots. This has been like really crazy grower. And if you look closely, like the whole stem has roots on it. Like, I'm like, what? So yeah, this one, I'm not sure how this got that much roots. And I'm pretty sure this is ready to be planted in soil. So I'm thinking to put this in soil pretty soon. But yeah, look at those. So same thing for sphagnum moss. I'd simply just put it on top, you know, and mist them again with something, with a mister like this. I usually try to avoid the leaves as much as I can. I know it's hard, but I try my best. Or sometimes I would just kind of put like, you know, pour water on the side and just kind of, you know, like move the tray a little bit so the water gets distributed. And when I'm doing sphagnum moss, I make sure that I put lid on top and that the lid has holes so that there's air circulation. Otherwise, the cutting would be prone to rot. The other thing I want to show you is this Zebrina. This has been propagating in LECA. I propagated a lot of this in water, and so far they did great. And I just thought, you know, like I'm just gonna try propagating them in LECA. I didn't really see much difference in terms of growth because these guys grow pretty fast. But I'm hoping for some of the plants that are not as easy as this, at least it would help transition it to the medium that it's gonna be, whether it's gonna be soil or LECA. So far it's doing great. You can see the roots. I think they're pretty much ready to be planted in their forever home. I'm kind of not ready for it yet because I'm getting lazy, but anyways, I should get to it pretty soon because winter is coming and I want them to be settled in before, you know, it gets cold. So if you're following me on Instagram, you probably remember this Marble Queen Pothos that I propagated also because I accidentally nipped the leaves when I was transferring it to LECA. And this one started with like 2 leaves and look at it now. So I propagated this using water, and when it's ready, I put it in LECA. And so far it's loving it. It's just growing nonstop. There's a new leaf coming in right here. I don't know if you guys can see that. I hope so. There you go. So this leaf is coming in. So this one has been really doing well. And pothos in general, they're very, very easy to propagate. So if you're thinking of experimenting, I would say do it with a pothos. Like even my first LECA transition, I think I did like either the pothos or the Wandering Dew. And lastly, I want to show you the string of hearts that I propagated in water. I recently moved into soil. I think it's still kind of adjusting, but I think for the most part it's doing okay. I can see some new leaf that's growing out, so that's a good sign. And I really try to keep it moist, although this string of hearts are succulents and they like it dry. But since I just transplanted this into soil, like I wanted to keep it moist and just help it adapt a little bit more. So there you have it. So these are my propagation plants, and I'm hoping you learned something. And if you do have any questions for me about propagation or plants in general, I'll try to do my best to answer them. Just put them in the comments. And if you haven't subscribed to my channel, please do so. And if you like this video, please don't forget to hit like, and I'll see you next time.